Tuesday, November the 4th. Guys, it's the 4th day of November. And why don't you get some skin in the game if you haven't already? Today's your chance. In fact, today, if you do the workout, you will have, by default, started to participate in November. So congratulations, gang. Welcome to the game. Now you'll see what 10 minutes of row calories is like and how it's going to go throughout the rest of the month and what you're capable of, both under fatigue and also not under fatigue, because today's workout begins and ends on one of those 10-minute row calorie efforts. So you'll be both fresh and then not so fresh. And honestly, it's not a bad way to think about this one, to see if you know what it's going to take to match your fresh effort while you're tired, because you'll learn a lot about yourself doing it that way. Now, what is the actual workout? So you already know how it begins and ends. This is still a 4-time type of workout, right? It's just that after your 10-minute effort on the sprint, well, it's not a sprint, sorry, shouldn't have used that word. After your 10-minute effort on the row, you'll immediately get off and start a rounds for time-ish kind of thing. So we're just gonna use one big running clock today, but when you get off that rower, you will begin a 5-round workout. That's just the meat of the sandwich. And that 5-round workout is something that's gonna continue to keep your heart rate nice and high, because we've got movements in it that are designed for that. Basically, low intensity, high rep, not low intensity, low loading, high rep, burner type of movements, the kind of thing that we program on purpose so that you get a sustained heart rate, but it's not super heavy. And what are those movements? That 5 rounds in between the rows is 15 wall balls. We want to be unbroken. 20 kettlebell swings, which is a little bit more to ask, but we still would like to be unbroken. And then 10 by 10 meter shuttle runs, which today, totally fine to think of as like, okay, you know, they get put into be on the whiteboard sometimes as shuttle sprints. We know they won't be sprints. It's okay to think of them as recovery efforts for your upper body. All right. You're done that 5 rounds, 15, 20, and 10, and then you should get back on the rower and do another 10-minute row cal. So, a couple of things. When it comes to Rowvember, you're all now indoctrinated in 2025's Rowvember contest. Anytime these bonus efforts come up in the context of a workout, you do not need to, plus you won't have time to, you don't need to take a picture of your row screen and post it. We'll take the whiteboard score as fact. We'll assume the coach on duty was holding you to honesty and that you were going to just give us honesty anyway. But you should know that this does not replace Tuesday's normal entry into Rowvember. So by the end of the day, if you wanted to, before or after class, you could participate for a third 10-minute row calorie session and get even more higher up on that scoreboard. So up to you, totally up to you. What can I tell you? Now, when I said before that you might want to use the shuttle run as a little bit of a recovery effort, well, part of the thing that you're going to be recovering is grip, because some people learn, especially during the last few years of Rowvember, that rowing can turn into a little bit of a grippy endeavor, but so too can a set of 20 kettlebell swings that we're asking for today. We really want those kettlebells to be unbroken, so even if that means go a little bit lighter than normal, that's going to help us. All right, so 2 scores on the whiteboard today. The first score is the time that was on the clock when you were finally done that second row effort. So, it'll be like a 4-time workout. We know that 20 minutes of that was spent rowing. That's fine. We could easily then calculate out exactly how much the 5 rounds took. But what that wouldn't help us figure out is how much time did you sort of lazily go from the row to the 5-rounder, and that's why we're going to take the full rounds today. or your full, the time on the clock when the WOD ended. And then your other score today will just be a added together sum of your 2 rows, your 2 calorie rows. I want to know how many calories did you get today. And then you personally, when you go and log this workout on Beyond the Whiteboard, you're going to have to edit the beginning and the end, so the buy-in and the cash out, just to say how many row calories you specifically did. And, that's assuming you want to. Now, if you do decide to participate in actual Rovember score, the track called Rovember, for that one, because that one can be done before or after class without a coach, for that one, take a picture and make sure you upload it. That's a really important part of that contest. So another thing, just a logistical thing that's sort of neither here nor there, but if you want to know how we tested it, just use the 10-minute clock. Use the row screen to calculate your 10 minutes. That way you're just maximizing your time on the row. You don't have, what if you got a late start on the row, or, sometimes if you start the row, the clock starts ticking. We want you to just go by the rower time for your 10 minutes. Don't start before the class time starts. I'm just saying, just don't even if that takes you out a little bit further than you wanted for your total time, just maximize your 10 minutes on that rower today. Make sure you get a full 10 and not anything less than that. If a class happens to be bigger than 12 people, and you're not sure if you're going to get a rower or not, maybe you didn't sign up, maybe you came late, a couple things. We have options here. I'm not putting this in the Beyond the Whiteboard notes. This is bonus content just in case. You are allowed today to use a ski erg and count that towards Rovember. You can. It would be the penalty is that you probably won't get as many calories. The other thing that we could probably sustain today is you waiting, doing a little bit of a staggered start, not a 10-minute staggered start, where you or someone, a buddy maybe, start when the first group gets off the row. That could possibly happen today. But keep in mind, we're going to enforce a 45-minute cap. So I don't know. Hopefully we don't run into problems with that. Another group could just decide that they instead want to do a 10-minute bike, and I don't think we can count that towards Rovember. It's just completely different machinery. So maybe the people who use the bike are the people who don't care so much about Rovember. Maybe it won't come to that. All right, guys, have fun.